Evening all, welcome back to Space Engineers. So let's recap. We are back on our SquadB flagship. I know, seriously, don't hate me, bros. I can't fix the goddamn previous save. Post in the comments, tell me if you know how to fix it. I went into it, I started typing code into the save, and to be honest with you, I think I'm making it even worse, to be honest with you. I think... yeah, it's just, seriously, I'm not going to bother with it anymore. So if you know how to fix these things, tell me now, bros. Otherwise, we're going to carry on with our glorious efforts and works with the flagship for the time being. So this whole thing has been frustrating in a way because it was built in mind and designed in mind with the old mechanics of the game. So in essence, this was a ship built with retros inside, like you see on the left there. Bad move, bro. That completely destroyed my ship. Look at the denting on the plate. I mean, literally just everything about the design of this ship was kind of stupid. It's got 4 large reactors. You only need 1, seriously. And it's just massively over-designed. And the gravity field's wrong. Oh, just everything about it was wrong. So the fun part of this is that obviously being engineers, we are there to create perfection. And so a lot of what you're about to see through your eyeballs is my I guess, redesign and retrofit of this mighty ship to make it good. It is a shame that I lost my one that I was building. Maybe not lost, but certainly I can't get to it at the moment. But these are the things to send to triers, and I think at the end of the day, the reality is that this ship is probably not a bad place to just pick up from. So hopefully people are understanding of that avis stance, as you would say. Everywhere I look, there's damage. Everywhere I look, there's things to do, and I think this is a really nice feeling of the game. The game just reminds me of Minecraft because I used to log into my little castle Pyrex. Quite honestly, literally castle Pyrex. And you'd log in and you think, right, there's 101 jobs to do, let's get going. And this game is just the same, but it's with spaceships, which just make it infinitely better. As you can see, we've got a couple of fighters here, and these things are the original fighters, so I'm just going to kind of position them a bit better. But we're not going to kind of mess too much with this. The idea of this hangar deck was actually so that we could come build new ships directly onto this hangar deck. And I promise you, in maybe the next video, the one after that, you'll see that because we start to look at actually building proper ships inside this ship. So we start to really, use the ship as it was designed originally. Everything else is generally functioning not too bad. So the refinery is working well. The cargo bays obviously are working incredibly well. I'm really glad that I built these large cargo pods. And I think just generally the refinery is, again, working quite awesomely. Once you get the hang of it, it is a very rewarding game. You end up obviously mining to get materials to then build things. And I think there's actually quite a pleasure in that. And I think certainly when we come into our large engineering room here, you can kind of see that, there's things offline, there's things that need work. And again, my attention is kind of split between what the hell do I do next. I want to also extend this ship as well. And you'll see as we go into the next few videos, what actually we do with this ship is extended. And really start to make it much more of a bigger ship. Just looking here again, another example, the plates have buckled as we've kind of, I couldn't tell you why they're buckled. But certainly, a lot of things are not quite as they need to be with this ship. The retros here are looking fine, but they could cause damage to the wider frame. And you'll notice here I've also started to build solar panels because obviously the ship, everything's going to run out eventually of the uranium, so you're going to run out of it eventually. So what I've already started doing is putting solar panels on this thing. They're not great at the moment. Post in the comments if you know anything about them, because at the moment I put 4 on and they work, but they don't seem to produce much power at all. Now, fun fact, the ship is technically powered down at the moment. There is uranium in 1 reactor, but the ship is powered down. So there's no beacon on this ship. So if I were to get into a ship, for example, a little mining vessel, and maybe, go out of draw distance into, the ether to go and mine some rock, you can imagine how funny it would be if you remembered that as you, on your way back, you spin around and you realize there's no beacon on your ship, and it could be anywhere. True story. It actually happened to me, and I was ready to throw the towel in entirely because I was so fed up. My previous save being corrupted, and then all of a sudden I had the whole expanse of wide open space and I couldn't see my flagship. So, word to the wise, whenever you go and build these large ships, make the first thing you do is put a beacon with power on it. Okay? I can't stress to you how frustrating that was. It was just stupid. So anyway, let me show you one of the key things that we're doing here. Is we've got this great big engine inside the ship, which is kind of stupid and pointless, and it's just no point being there. So what we're going to do is we're going to move them to the front. As you see, the one on the right there is. We're going to make this sensible when it comes to the way that retros fire. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense. Now, there is a little bit of kind of I guess jiggery pokery to be done when it comes to redesigning and retrofitting a ship you've made in creative. So don't feel bad if you just do all of this retro fit in creative. I actually wouldn't say it's a big deal at all. Survival mode is for those of us who are just, I guess, die-hard idiots who just want to really hurt themselves. And I'm one of them, because I thought to myself, no matter what I do, if I'm going to cheat, which is effectively what I've done, if I'm going to cheat, then I have to, the rod that I hit my back with is basically going to be, I have to then use survival only from this point forward. Okay, so the whole retrofit of this has now included me having to grind out blocks, weld stuff in. So I can't just go and create my engines. I have to actually build the engines properly to repair the rear of this ship. So hopefully you respect my my die-hard nature when it comes to this, because in essence I did cheat. I have cheated. I've gone and used the creative save, which, I don't know, it hurts me a lot to do, but you know, at the end of the day I want to keep playing the game, and to lose your save like that just really sucks. And I'm looking for the forums every day to see if there's a way to recover it. It just doesn't look like there is. I think the save has become entirely corrupt, and even the backup as well. So very annoying. Anyway, I think part of the fun of this game, as I've said, is just you get to the point where you just want to build, repair, and refine. And what I found very honestly with this game is that it has incredibly soothing undertones throughout. So none of it's high stress, none of it's PvP yet, none of it is very frustrating. It is a very casual, fun game. And there's lots of lovely breaks in it as well. So, you know, you could be building a ship such as this and you're getting a bit bored of welding and grinding and all that stuff. So you think to yourself, right, I'll go and get some more materials. And then you realize, I need more iron. So you hop in your mining vessel, you chug along to the local asteroid and you start mining. And then all of a sudden, you know, half an hour's passed and you're still mining, and you come back and you think, right, I'll get back on with the welding now. That nothing happens for too long. You don't weld and grind for too long. And I think that's a masterpiece of the game. It is incredibly clever game design, because it's exactly what Minecraft did. No job in Minecraft takes longer than 5 minutes in theory, in general, except maybe doing, I don't know, mining obsidian maybe. The game has been made so that everything's packaged up into little jobs and tasks, and I think that deserves just absolute kudos for making a casual, enjoyable, fun game. I suspect none of that was by design. It's just the simple fact is it doesn't take long to do anything in the game, but there's lots to do. There's lots of little things to do, and I think that's certainly one of its unique charms, I would say. And I think, again, when it comes to things like, you know, one of the biggest ball aches in the game is got to be building the big modules. So like big reactors, big engines, particularly because they take many hundreds of units of certain ores. And I would say that that's probably the only difficult part of it. But again, it's all passive. You know, you can set your refineries up with all the materials that's needed and just leave them spinning away. And that has got to be one of the beauties of the game. As you see, our retro is now looking like it can be put in place. I'm trying to work out if I actually need to go all the way in there. I don't think I do. Maybe I do. But anyway, and always this thing of energy as well. So just always bear that in mind. As I get into my seat, my energy starts to recover, and you notice, look at my little mining bay there. So I always color code everything I do because, hey, OCD. And all of my mining vessels are red, and the mining area on the ship is also marked with a red. So we're going to have like an ammo pickup and drop off area. That's going to be blue. So, you know, I'm really getting into this. You can tell the organization nerd in me is just loving this. And I think also what we're trying to do again is also then frame all of these engines as well, because the worst thing we can have, and this is a learning point for me, was exposed engines and exposed ship components get damaged. Okay, so I was there happily mining away with my my old Mark 1 miner, and all of a sudden this thing just goes bang, and then the ship's listing, and it's listing, you know, completely out of control, and I'm like, what the hell happened there? And I looked around wondering if I'd hit some kind of space dude, but lo and behold, I had snagged the reactor on a rock, and as I kept pushing forward, you know, literally going, why don't I go forward, push forward, I was denting the reactor over and over until it breached, and then it took out half the mining ship. So that, I mean, that's pretty impressive. Hopefully you agree, because that was like, you know, just an absolute moment for me. So the learning point, because again, engineering is all about fact finding and learning, was that if you do build sensitive ship systems such as gyroscopes, engines, reactors, missile launchers, you know, Gatling guns, these things, you're probably best encasing them in blocks. Okay, so I can't recommend that enough. A lot of what I've generally done to date has been almost ghetto ships. So you build a ship that's pretty ghetto-like. So it's not the most, what's the nice way of putting this? It's not the most, I guess, designed ship. There you go. That was a good way of putting it. And everything's exposed, and it's all a bit kind of functional over like aesthetics. So when actually you're mining with this thing, all of a sudden you're blowing the engines, you're damaging the engines to the point where they're actually broken. You snag yourself on little jagged bits of rocks, you know, even to the point of not noticing a great big asteroid in front of you, and then until it's too late, hitting the afterburners, or rather just taking your foot off the accelerator, and then realizing the accelerators no longer generally work like they used to. So you then have to spin the ship round very quickly and handbrake it effectively, and then hope that your engines can hold you. I actually died because I propelled myself forward so fast, and then the retros exploded and I hit a rock. And then that was it, game dead. And that ship is forever lost. That's in deep space God now, flying on with some kind of decapitated Pyrex in the front seat. But I think, you know, these are the learning points. And there's no real penalty for death. Once you've set up a medical clone bay on your ship, which again I would advise you do straight away, it's not really a penalty to die. It's not really an issue. So, yeah, definitely worth doing. So I think in general, I think a lot of what the game generally gives you is a very casual, enjoyable experience of playing a game that is not over the top, it's not excessive, it's a very casual game, and it's growing. The next thing that's coming is going to be things like player versus environment, so that's going to be interesting to see, you know, factions coming in. Your large turrets on the ship may also work like sentries, so as enemies get near you, they'll start to lock on automatically and shoot them. This could become a tower defense game very quickly. I'm really excited about this. To me, this is looking to be great fun. As we place our second retro, we only need 2, that's fine, that's all we're going to do, and we'll finish that off perhaps in the next video. So there we go. Hope you enjoyed that. We'll see you next time.